So today on the Soundiron podcast, we have Redouane Aouameur. He is one of Algeria's most celebrated metal musicians, known to extreme metal fans worldwide for his work with the acclaimed death metal band Layla Hell. Redouane's powerful vocals have been heard on tons of metal albums, and he's also a vocalist in Soundiron's Voices of Rage library. So welcome to the podcast. We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me on this cool podcast.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, and it's been a while coming because we came out with the update for Voices of Rage with you. Was it back in August? This is a long time coming. So thanks for coming.
How'd you get started in metal music and like vocalizing? Because it's like kind of a very specific niche.
Yeah, I started first in the early 90s. In 1992, 1993, I was a musician playing bass first and played with some local bands. Also founded the band Letham. Letham was the first Algerian metal that released the first Algerian metal album. I was doing bass and vocals. And after that, so I formed also other bands, and I formed Layla Hell, and I played guitar and doing vocals. And I started to work on Fiverr to start with some session vocals, doing session vocals for musicians, for bands. And I developed all the things with a website, a YouTube channel, and vocal lesson and all this kinds of stuff.
Nice. So how did, with like the range of styles that you do, because I see that you also give lessons and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like since you have you have a pretty wide range as far as your style goes, because there's certain singers that maybe like the more black metal genre focuses on the more high, very like shrieky style vocals, and then you got like death metal, which is like the lower, and then even like slam, which is like guttural. So it's like it varies on different styles. Like who are some of your favorite singers that kind of help shape your style?
I don't have any particular favorite singer, but let me tell you my history. So first I started just only with two vocals, black metal vocals and death metal vocals. Mm-hmm. So when clients approached me and asked me about doing other kinds of vocals, I started to learn these techniques with clients, with bands, and I expanded my range. So now I can do like 16, 17, 18 kinds of different vocals. So it comes with works, not so. For example, sometimes I got clients who asked me to do this kind of vocals. So for me it's a challenge. So I say yes, I will do it. I will start to learn this technique in 1 or 2 days. So forcing myself and seeing some videos and some techniques, and I start to learn this technique.
Do they usually give you some kind of band as a reference? Like, oh, I want some, hardcore vocals that sound like Hatebreed, or I want some more, I don't know what you'd consider Lamb of God, I guess, like new metal, like, like that kind of, so it's like, was it things like that? They'd give you a band or
yes,
as a reference?
They give me, for example, sometimes I ask for a video link to get exactly what the client wants, because sometimes I don't particularly give what the client wants, but now I ask exactly to send me the video links, to send me exactly the parts that he wants, the kind of vocals, so the client will be satisfied with his order.
Nice. So, because since usually you can kind of relate certain vocal styles like to another one, it's sort of like if you play guitar, like if you play in like a thrash band, more than likely if you like join a death metal band, it's like you kind of have a majority of the techniques and stuff to kind of get that style, like palm muting or trem picking and stuff like that. Did you have any vocal styles that were a little bit tricky, took you a little bit of a while to get down, that were like a little too far off? Maybe it's a little too off from what you normally do, or
yes, the modern metal stuff like the fry scream and this kind of stuff. For me, in the beginning, was really difficult. It's yes, it took me time to learn this technique. And after that, now I'm pretty well at this technique, and I started to teach people how to do it properly. But it was really difficult for me because it's something really different. Because I am from the old school, let's say the old school generation of extreme metal musician. Because in the beginning we were screaming from from our guts, you know.
Yeah, just thrashing
Yes,
your throat and all
yeah,
that.
yeah. So were not caring about damaging our vocals or this
Right.
kind of things. So this kind of modern vocals for us is like a cheating, you know. It's not something real, you know. But I had to accept it. It's something new. It's modern. It's something to the actual generation, and I started to learn this kind of technique.
Yeah, it's crazy because like when you think of like some of the early death metal bands, or even like Chris Barnes, like in his early days, like because I mean, some people aren't too much of a fan of his vocal style now, but like when he was first coming out back in the early 90s, like no one was really sounding like that. You know, and then like even like as albums went on, like, you know, Eaten Back to Life to like Tomb of the Mutilated and like Butchered at Birth, it just got like more and more just like brutal sounding. So it's crazy to think, you know, like because there's no real reference to that type of vocal style when it was first coming out. Like people know like singing, you know, like more melodic singing or, you know, or that type of thing, but there was no real handbook as far as like, you know,
Yes,
growls and stuff like that.
yeah. The only rules was to go loud, you know, was to sing from guts, you know. This was only the rules for us. Also, when we started in the I started as a vocalist, and I started to imitate this 90s Swedish metal bands, but there was no like no big reference. I was
Mhm.
just doing things from my own, you know. It's the same. So we started without any big reference and all this kind of thing. So
Yeah. Do you have any tips? Because I wouldn't consider myself like a vocalist. I've been doing you know, like backing vocals in death metal bands over the years, and I had a solo project where I did like all of it, you know, from like lows to highs to even like some singing stuff, or trying to sing. What advice would you give to a vocalist who's trying to get into this type of vocal style? Because like the fry thing, it's like it seems a little, it seems like it's an easy concept, but also a concept that's a little, you know, like because it's kind of like, you know, when people say like start slow and then gradually get faster because you're just like and then like, you know, that kind of thing. So like what advice would you give for people trying to like get into the fry technique, or maybe if they don't quite get it, or, you know, any tips you would give?
the main tips to for the fry thing is don't try to sound loud, because people try to sound loud and push too much hard. It's try to find the right frequency. It's not something like the other technique, like the black metal, death metal technique. You have to sound loud, you know. But in fry
Mhm.
scream, you have to find the right intonation, and after that, just blow more air to sound like a fry scream. And
Mhm.
also, I have a particular advice for extreme metal vocalists is try to find your own way, not to imitate vocalists, because each one has his own anatomy. You know, you have
Mhm.
some have a long throat, some have a big mouth, some have, you know. So try to find your own way. Try to find your own sound. So don't people always go to fry scream, fry scream, fry scream. Yes, fry scream is good, is something that help people to not damage their vocals. It's a safe technique. It's so impressive when it's well done, but don't try to imitate all these singers, and so try to find your own sound.
Yeah, it's good advice, especially because it's tricky at first. Because at first people want to emulate their idols. Maybe they listen to Napalm Death or something. They want to do that really like aggressive style. But like Barney has a very particular sound, and it's one of those things where like if you just try to like replicate him, you'll probably just not be able to talk for a week. Because it's like such a. But then you hear him talk; he's very soft spoken. But then you hear his vocals and it's just like super aggressive, and because like one of the things that I find interesting too is like the whole like starting from the fry thing, but then you can shape the sound with like your mouth. Like some people do stuff where they'll put their tongue on the roof of their mouth. Like you have Travis Ryan from Cattle, and he just like has just like this wild range where he'll do almost this like super high shrieky thing, and then now he started doing it where he was like he can make it tonal, like singing, doing that. And it's just like, it's crazy how just even that can change it from like, like how you shape your mouth can just like completely sort of start to direct the tone in a different way, which I always find pretty fascinating.
Yes, it's for me, you can find your own technique. For example, there is a band which is called Decomposing Serenity. So it's very extreme band. I listened to it in the early 2000. The guys was doing a very sound something really bizarre. So the thing he was putting his hand on his throat and doing like that. So it's sort of it's
like almost like a death metal vibrato or something.
Yes, something like that. So you can find your own way. You can find, I don't know, maybe you put your fingers on your mouth or something like that, and it sounds really original. For example, like Cranium, they put their tongue like that, and so there are no rules. This is the good thing. So you can sound, you can have your own technique, you can have your own sound. And it's great to go on this way, but it requires a lot of experience, so you cannot because something you can do something like something that doesn't sound good or something like, or you can damage your vocals if you don't know what you are doing. So first learn the basics of extreme metal vocals, and then start to explore some new techniques and some new things to do it.
Do you have any tips on sort of vocal maintenance, or doing things to kind of keep moisture in your vocals? Because sometimes you might have it where take a sip of water, and I'm guilty of this. Playing a show, take a sip of water, and then like your voice sounds has that like moistured kind of wet sound, and then eventually just kind of starts to like dry out a little bit. Like, what do you do to sort of keep the moisture in your throat, and also just like anything that you do just for overall, care and maintenance to not burn yourself out?
So I just drink water. So some vocalists use yogurt. They use yogurt to keep this moisture. Sometimes I drink coffee or tea. That's it. So and the more you practice, the more you have endurance. So there are no special tips or something like that. So the most important is to practice. I think it's, in my opinion, it's like going on gym, so, and lifting weights. So the more you lift weights, the more you feel you will not feel pain on your muscles. This is my opinion.
So aspiring vocalists out there, you got to train your vocals so you can get vocally swole and be able to hang with the big dogs.
Do you have a favorite microphone that you use consistently, or like multiple microphones you choose from?
I mainly use the SM7B. It's my tool. So nice. I was using the SM57, but now I'm using for extreme metal vocals only the SM7B.
What do you like about it?
it has this mid-range tone. So you record and you send. So I don't use any compressor. I don't use any equalizer or anything, any kind of things. And when I sent to the producer or bands, they said, "Oh, it's magic, it sounds great." And something which you will find bizarre. So I use the compression with my eyes, So when I record, I see the graphic of my recording, and so my brain, I connect my brain so to not to
like
not
have too much like spiky.
spiky like that. So I have that in my brain, so it's like a compressor in my brain. So I don't use compressor at all for
Nice.
that. Yes.
Do you use a cloud lifter with it?
Yes, I use a cloud lifter, of course, for the SMZB, because it to get more gain, get rid of this dark sound, and yes, those are my tools. And for the interface, I have the Babyface Pro, the RMU.
Army.
Yes, RME Babyface Pro. It's have very clean preamps, so that's it. And for software, I use Cubase Pro.
Oh, okay. So you're not running the SM7B through any kind of like hardware preamps or anything like that? Any kind of
No, I don't use any preamp or any
straight
compressor. Yes, just straight the SMZB, the vocals, and only that. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I've been. That's like one of those mics I've been wanting to get over the years, but it'll probably be like maybe the next time I ever have a project where I need to like do more vocal stuff. So I haven't really quite justified it, but that's one of those mics that I've been like wanting to get over the years, because I usually just use condenser mics. Like I have a AT Audio Technica 2025 or something. 2020 or something like that. And that's what I use. But the cool thing about that is, you can use it on guitar or whatever. You can record a lot with it. But the SM7B is pretty good. Do you ever do any sort of EQ, or do you have any sort of EQ stuff that you do, or you just send them straight raw, nothing, and just let them?
Yes, send them straight. So I don't EQ, no compression, no super preamp, and all this kind of stuff. So just clean, so the band or the producer can mix it, and most of time they found that the sound is really good. So they don't need to make a lot of adjustment on it. So for me, it's cool. It's the good weapon.
I like how simple it is, because you can take that anywhere with you, and you can like knock it out. You don't have a chain that you have to, like a baggage on your back that you have to carry around everywhere. That's smart.
Yeah.
And your vocals on Voices of Rage sound great. So could you tell us about the process on that?
Yes, I had some words and some phrases, some songs to record. So I spent like almost 4 months recording. So I was recording almost every day, like 30 to 40 minutes. Because when you spend a lot of time, so you start to get some fatigue. So it will not sound good. It would not sound consistent. So I was doing that regularly every day, almost every day. And I sent the recording to the Soundiron CIO. And yes, I used the 2 microphones. I used the SM7B and the blue. It was the condenser, like this one. Like yes, it's a condenser microphone. It's has a great sound. So they wanted me to have one dynamic microphone and one condenser microphone. and to make it to match it to have a full sound. So I made some tests before to get the right sound, and also to avoid some phase cancellation between the two microphones, adjusting the distance between both microphones. And after that, I start to record every day. Yes, to sound word by word, sound by sound, and all this kind of stuff. And then when I finish it a part, I send it via email, via FTP, and yes, so they download it and send it for the programmation and all the kind of stuff.
Nice. When you were doing it, since you did a few different vocal styles, did you do one all in a month, and then all right, now I'm going to do the screams, now I'm going to do the guttural? Like, did you do it in chunks like that just to kind of keep that consistency?
Yeah, I was doing by genre. So I started with black metal vocals, which is my let's say my the genre that I'm comfortable with, and after that the death metal vocals, the brutal death, to get this regularity. So this was the most difficult part of doing that. So because it's not like, for example, for a recording guitar. So when you play guitar, for example, you can play like for 4 to 5 to 6 hours. So, but when you record vocals, it's extreme metal vocals. Yes, you can record for 4 to 5 hours, but at the end, it will not sound good because it's more physical than playing guitar. So the challenge was to be regular every day. And I was, for example, when I finished the first day, the second day, I always listen to what I have recorded before, so to stay on the same aggressivity, to have the same power. So it's important to keep this this consistency when recording something in a long duration.
Yeah, especially maintaining that tone too, because like maybe the next day you might go in, all right, I'm doing this, but maybe, you know, going back to like, you know, let's talk about earlier, like just like how you shape your mouth, like maybe like, you know, so using that as a reference is good just to kind of keep your mind on that tone, because even like actual singers like recording different vowel types and stuff, it's very easy to hear a difference. You know,
Yeah,
like it sounds warmer or a little bit brighter or a little bit softer or a little bit, maybe that sounds a little bit more sound, you know. So it's like it can get tricky, especially with vocals, because it's not like like I said, a guitar or even drums. You know, you could be a drummer in a studio and you start drumming, but then you got to change the heads, you know. But that's a gear thing. You just, all right, put some new heads on, you know, break them in, tune them. All right, cool, we're good. But with vocals, it's a very flexible instrument, which like that's what makes it hard. I mean, just like any other instrument, you got to be able to like control your mechanics. But with the voice, it's kind of, if you're tired, you're tired. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
It's just kind of,
yes. It was also the COVID period. So yes, where I think that I was sick in between, like I got the COVID in this period. So I had time to recover. Also, yes, you need sometimes like 2 to 3 days to recover from the disease. And also there are some techniques, like for example, like the brutal death metal vocals or the inhale vocals, that require this precision. For example, yes, because it's technique that when you change a little bit the shape of your mouth, the sound will completely change. So you have to keep this every day. So this is why before starting the session, I was always listening to the previous recording and to remember the position of the mouth and the way to do it in the same way that I have done the day before.
nice.
And you give private lessons, right?
Yes, I give private lessons mainly on Fiverr,
Okay.
also through my website. So people can contact me. So I give lessons about any extreme metal vocals technique that people want. So it's basically 30 minutes, 1 hour lesson.
Oh, what's the first lesson like? I'm just curious, like if someone new to a genre and they love a certain kind of music, but they're like they don't know how to make the sounds, right? And they're like, well, I'll just book this guy and we'll have a lesson. What's your first lesson look like? What do you start them off with? Is there any like exercises you teach, or you trying to just like match tones? What's the first lesson like?
The first lesson is the introduction lesson. I just want to learn more about the person and to see what is his potential. Sometimes I get some new people that start to sing. I see they have a potential in doing fry scream. Some other people have potential in doing low growls. So I start to show them the different techniques and see how they are doing them. And after that, after the 30 minutes of the lesson, I suggest them to make a 1 hour lesson about, for example, about the fry scream, or about the low growl, about the black metal vocals, about this kind of thing. Or sometimes I got people that know what they want. For example, they want like some old school death metal vocals. They send me like, I want to sound like Entombed or Dismember or this kind of bands. So I prepare a course about that. So we work on they measure songs. So we work on some parts, and I start to teach them how to sound like that, how to shape the mouth, how to breathe, how to all this kind of stuff. So it depends on the client, what he wants. So I adapt myself to them.
Have you had anyone try ask you how to sing like the singer of Archspire?
Uh, Not yet. Yeah, not
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, because
Yes.
Archspire, that guy, oh man, that I don't even know how it's like Tech Nine meets death metal. It's like Spawn of Possession meets Tech Nine rapping, where it's just like super synchronized. Because even like Spawn of Possession, I mean, that's pretty fast. Like when I was first hearing that, I was just kind of like, because all the vocal rhythms were going with like with the snare drum, and the snare's like this was just like super just punishing. And I'd be like, man, if someone was asking me how to do that, I'd be like, you're gonna have to hit him up. You're gonna have to hit up Ollie, because I don't know how to do that.
Yes, it's very difficult. Yes, some things. Yes, and sometimes I had some clients that don't know what they want. So sometimes, that like amateur, so they start to ask for things that they don't know about. So sometimes it's difficult to when there is a bad communication. But I learned now. It's my I don't know, maybe I have teached like more than 100 peoples during the last 3-4 years.
Mhm.
So I try to adapt myself to them. So this is very important to give them what they want. So, for example, last time I got a client who was doing rock vocals, and he has just a scream in his song. He's a really amazing rock singer with really amazing music, but just he wanted to learn how to sing. So he took a lot of lesson, and I just told him to liberate yourself. So you don't need any technique to scream. You just have to scream. So don't fear of scream. People when do extreme vocals, they have this fear of scream to damage the vocals. So you just have to liberate your mind from that. So when you scream, that's it.
Yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
found especially giving lessons. I don't give lessons much these days, but like over the years, like you have to kind of analyze sort of what they're asking, because I've had people who would hit me up because they liked what I did in Deeds of Flesh, or just like, or whatever projects I was in. and they'd be like, so what's like the theory behind that riff? Like, I really like this riff. Like, what's the theory? And it's like, I don't use theory when I write death metal. I don't think that way. I don't think like, oh, well, like I'll use some maybe harmony theory for getting certain, if I'm using certain chords and I want to have it harmonize a certain way, or layering or things like that. But it's kind of tough when you have someone ask you that, because then it's almost like you feel bad because now you like the answer that you gave them, like it's some mystical that kind of thing where it's like, I just, go off inspiration. But that's really like when it comes to death metal or more unique niche styles like death metal or things like that, it is very like kind of no rules. That's why like it's funny you see people compare like death metal to jazz, even though like jazz I would think is, I wouldn't really say, I mean in the sense that maybe because it sounds a little bit more different than pop music, or like you hear that meme, like just play the right notes. When you hear death metal, it's a lot of just like atonal, dark, dissonant stuff and very just heavy and abrasive. But yeah, sometimes I could see it being tricky with lessons when, you have someone like that. Like, do you usually try to get them to sort of just like go from where they are? Cause it's like, I feel like that type of vocal style, like at least you're doing vocals and you have like, if it's like a rock sound, it's at least closer than like an operatic person. Like, I want to sound like, George Fisher from Cannibal Corpse. And it's like, all right, well, it's going to take some work, because it's a opposite side of the spectrum when it comes to vocal styles. Like, do you try to just kind of like base off like from where they are and try to like just guide them along, or how do you usually go about that?
Yes, I had also some clients like that in vocals. Like they was talking to me about this technique, about the falsetto, about the belting, some theory, some big things. But what I do is when they're talking about this technique, so I'm googling it simultaneously, and I'm trying to learn what is belting. Belting is a technique that I use it, and I say, yeah, it's belting. Yes, you can use that. So I try to adapt myself to this kind of clients. Yes, I know it's sometimes difficult, but I use it for my own. So I learned from them. I learned the falsetto, the how to breath. So there are some techniques, some good techniques, some breathing techniques that are used in other things. I am also doing voiceover. I am doing French voiceover and also Algerian Arabic voiceover. So there are some breathing techniques in voiceover that I am using also in death metal vocals or extreme metal vocals. So I try to use theory with I don't learn theory. I don't have any theoric or this kind of diploma or this kind of stuff. But I try to take sometimes from theory, and it can help sometimes. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's good to have some kind of knowledge of that, especially if there's something that you come upon and you're not quite sure what that means. That's where I think like learning music theory. We've talked about this a lot on the podcast, like knowing, just being able to have an understanding. If you have a question, like I want to understand like how, like why does, when I take a 1-3-5 chord and I take the third and then I drop it down a half step, it sounds like this, like why, or understanding like how to get that sound if you're working on a piece of music, because there's some people I've seen, talk to plenty of people that are like great songwriters and they have no idea what they're doing. It's like someone who's like, they've never seen a map before, but they can tell you where everything is in town just because they drive around a lot. It's like that kind of thing. So it's like, it doesn't matter how you get from point A to point B. It's just doing the thing and then finding what you like. Like basically at the end of the day, that's pretty much what we're all doing. It's just some people maybe, use a band as a reference to get to the idea and then go from there. So it's like the journey can be reached in any way. And there's no real wrong way. It's just really about, how you want to do it.
So what's a typical day look like for you? How do you spend a week? Like you wear some different hats, right? Like sometimes you're touring, sometimes you're teaching, sometimes you're recording session vocals. Like how do you split your time up?
Yes, session vocals, metal session vocals is a part of my monthly income. Also teaching. let's say both is like 30%. It depends. 30% of my income. I also doing French and Algerian voiceover, and also I run a company. We rent backline and sound systems. So
That's cool.
yes, so I have all that, and it's part of my income. So this is
So
my week.
what type of voiceover work do you do?
I do all kind of. I
Like
do
commercials or
dubbing.
anything like that, or
Yes, dubbing. Also, I am working with a channel. It's about football. It's called Un autre football. It's talking about the other side of football. You know, like Messi on the United States, how he is living and all these kinds of thing around the football. I also work with medical stuff, with the translation from English to French, and also make the dubbing and all of this kind of stuff. And also on, I have also another channel about cryptocurrency. This guy is running a channel, Rope Kyoto. He's making advice and all this kind of stuff about crypto. And yes, it's really, really wide. I do all sort of kind of voiceover. Yeah.
How'd you learn French?
Yes, we learn it at school. So when
Okay.
yes, it's we will learn it when we are very young. So yes, because Algerian was a French colony, so people also most people from my old generation have learned this French, have a cool, let's say, a good level in French. So this is something that I use it. I have a slight accent, but it's something that people like. You know, for example, for the football channel, when we start that. Now, most of people are from Africa. You know, so I have a slight African accent, and
Right.
they start to have a lot of followers now. It's almost 150K on the channel, and all of them are from Africa because of my accent. So people
Nice.
start to subscribe to this channel.
have you
That's
ever
a,
thought of doing any voiceover work for video games or anything like that, like monster voices? Like I know I've seen some guys in metal bands that would transition over to I think the singer from Beyond Creation, he and some other people who I'm friends with on Facebook. Like I'll see them doing like monster voiceover work for video games. Have you ever thought about doing anything like that, or?
yes, I have made for a game from a company called EcoSoft. It's
Oh.
called the X4 Foundation. I have made two software, two version. It was about doing some like a like that with effects, and
Mhm.
also I recorded with them the last version. They will use the IA, so to learn from my vocals and to use them for their future version. So yes, I also worked with sometimes some cartoons dubbing. Yes, sometimes, and I, I have worked on a lot of. Yes, my let's say my weakness is commercial, like doing commercial. I'm not very specialized in that, but
Mhm.
I work on a lot of things of doing voiceover. Yes.
Yeah, commercials are an interesting one. It's funny. Actually, I was going through my Google Drive and just getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and I found this MP3 that my friend sent me because he's a singer in a band. He has a studio out here in LA, and he because I used to always like doing imitations and stuff, so he knew I was like doing voice things, and he's like, "Hey, I got this guy. He needs a voiceover for it was like a insurance commercial." and like my first thought, you hear like insurance commercial, like the, hey, so blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. Like it's easy to go to talk show guy, you know, and it's not as easy as someone might think, because it's like sounding natural, but also having like a certain tone and not going to, hey, this is radio talk show guy, like, or just sounding a little too cheesy. So it's definitely that's a very particular thing, unless you're that what's his name, Don De La Fontaine, or the inner world, that guy, like, where you're just like, boom, that's his thing, and he did that for years. But yeah, it's tricky. Commercial work is tricky.
Yeah, it's difficult. The difficulty is is the emotion, to capture the emotion. This is the difficulty. So sometimes you have a text, a script, and you have to read in certain way. And sometimes the client have something in their mind, and it doesn't really match to the ideas. This is why I don't like so much to work on commercial. But in other things, for example, like football, I like football. I like soccer. I am a fan of soccer. So I when I talk about something, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So
and you have a passion for it too. So you could people can probably at that excitement or passion for it probably comes through a lot more because you actually are into it versus like doing some kind of dental commercial. Like, I don't care about dentistry. I like football, so of course you're going to be like a little bit more excited about it.
of course, yeah. So, for example, you have a script about a shampoo, or I don't know, something that you don't care about. So you have to transmit this emotion, and you don't care about that. So it's difficult. So to transmit this emotion. But yes, sometimes some people have these abilities. Some people it's more difficult for them. But the voiceover job is something very large. People only think about commercial, but there is a lot of things. It's like 15 different jobs. Like dubbing, YouTube videos, many things like documentaries, films, and all this kind of things, games, applications, and it's really wide.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's awesome that you've been able to use your voice in so many different ways, because a lot of times, especially when you have people who are doing the band thing, maybe they're just so focused on wanting to make that their career, which is extremely hard. Like being in a metal band and making a living solely off of that. So that's cool to see that you've diversified your voice in so many different ways to be able to support yourself doing that, which is really cool. So if anyone's out there's listening and you're doing any kind of voice stuff, expand your horizons. Don't just be stuck in one thing, because there's so many things you can do. That's really cool.
Nice, man. Well, I've just got 3 more questions for you, and then we'll wrap this thing up. My first question is a best recent purchase under $100. So something cheap that you've purchased recently that you really liking.
I have purchased something, but it hasn't arrived yet.
Okay.
It's UAD Volt 1. It's very...
Oh, the little interface.
Yeah, it's a little interface. So I would love to try it on my phone. So why I purchased it? Because sometimes when I am out of country or not on my studio, so I have some voiceover jobs. So I purchased this small interface, and I will connect it to my phone and re-record the stuff that I have to record. So I'm not obliged to stop the work with clients. So this is why I purchased this stuff.
Smart.
And yes, this for that. Yeah.
Perfect. I've heard good reviews about that. All right. My next question for you is a recent podcast or TV show or movie that you have enjoyed.
TV show, movies. I don't watch I don't watch movies, so
Okay.
yes, I don't watch TV. I don't watch. Yes,
You watch
not so
football
much.
though, right? Who's your favorite team?
Yes, I like a lot of teams. I like
Okay.
Chelsea, Manchester United, Real Madrid. So I have some teams that I like. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. My last question for you is some goals. Do you have any goals for this year, or what's next for you? What's coming down the pipeline for you?
Yes, I have some goals. Maybe something. Try to create something with the IA. So this is the new revolution. I can't tell you more now because the project is on.
NDA.
Yes,
Top
is in
secret.
the beginning. Yeah, top secret is in the beginning. So I'm start to work on it. It has something to do with vocals and the IE. So this is what I can tell you. So yes, so this will be. I hope that I can do that. Yeah.
Cool. You'll have to follow up with us and let us know what's going on with that when you can actually talk about it.
Yeah, when it releases. Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on the Soundiron podcast. We will point people to your website and YouTube channel so they can check out what you're doing and book a session with you or a vocal lesson. And until next time, we'll catch you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.